So a couple people asked about how I did the spiral staircase, and I figured I'd make just a short video about it. It's really a pretty simple process. We're going to start with 2 benches, and it's going to be a left spiral. So in this case, we want to make sure that the left legs are lined up. You want to get those pretty even. On the angled part, I'd like to have the front leg about halfway off the back. You can kind of see the angle there. It doesn't have to be perfect. As far as the merging, it's about 20 to 21 clicks. I use Xbox, so that could be different on PC or PlayStation. So it's pretty much at this point rinse and repeat. It takes about 26 to 27 merge benches to get up to that second level or second story, and that's kind of dependent on how close you're merging each of those benches. That may change 1 or 2. The important part is to make sure that that merge between them is fairly close. Like, you could go a little bit further than what I did here. The closer they are, the easier it is for your character to go up them smoothly. So that's why we're kind of concerned with that. And you'll start to get the angle after you do it a couple times. I guess the really important thing is, say you do 10 steps, merge them, then you save a blueprint, and you decide to come back later and you're going to add the rest of the steps to that blueprint. You got to save under a new name, because if you try to overwrite the other blueprint, it doesn't save correctly, and when you try to use a blueprint, it won't work. It'll say not supported. And I don't know if that is like that with other objects, but I know it's definitely like that for these. And if you do overmerge or merge it more than you like, it's not a big deal. On this one, I'll kind of merge it a little bit further. So you can see that there is no gap between those. We just take it over to the camp widget, our placement module, and just demerge or unmerge them. And then it's a quick fix. I like using that camp module because it doesn't change the position of the objects. So magic, we just dropped that blueprint after we merged all the stairs, and you'll notice that the bottom stair will demerge itself when you drop the blueprint. So that's why I do a couple extra stairs. That way we don't have to mess with the merge plate. When you do the blueprint, you can just move forward. And I think this part, or the next steps, are probably the more difficult than actually merging the steps, and that's getting it into your build. So we'll just kind of simulate a second floor. I'm just going to put a roof in here and delete out the wall to make it a little bit easier to kind of show it. So right now we just want to start test fitting the staircase, and this gives you an idea where on the foundation the staircase is going to set. And you'll notice you can clip the benches in quite a bit into a roof piece, wall piece, or an upper floor piece. It makes it kind of easy to line those up. At this point, I have the staircase pretty much on the foundation where it needs to be to line up. So we just need to do a merge. I call it the stinky dirt merge. I don't know what the correct terminology is on that, but the main thing is we get the steps, that first step, pretty close to the foundation because that's your first interaction point from your character to those steps. And if it sits too high, they're going to stop. It's a bench, right? And our benches don't want to snap in. So it is time to break out our trusty flamer trap. And you want to try and break the bottom step. Makes it a little bit easier. And it still doesn't snap. So I wanted to show that. We had the adjacent foundation that was blocking it. Fast forward to nighttime. We have the adjacent foundation out. We're able to set the foundation with the stairs in, and we can set the adjacent foundation, and it works fine. We're just going to do our repairs, and we have some spiral steps. So they're not perfect at this point, but that's kind of the premise of how you set it up. And the next part is getting the inner post set. To get the inner post set, we're going to need to do some flame trap work, and you'll also need a blueprint. Oh, someone just walking by there. But you'll need a blueprint for a pole, and you get that bottom step broke, get out your pole blueprint, and I like to use a mat in my pole blueprint. You'll kind of see why here in a second. The pole will clip into the stair quite a bit, and of course in this case it wouldn't clip for me, so in Fallout fashion I just went out and then back into the build menu, and it worked fine after that. And the chances of getting set perfectly the first time, I mean, it can be done, but I haven't done it yet. So we're going to repair the steps, and you'll see that I wasn't really happy with that initial pole placement. So this is the process of getting it the way that you want it to look. But with that mat, I probably said carpet, but with that mat there, we have a reference point for the last placement. You got to remember you have to break the steps in between each placement. So we're going to break the steps again. And now that we have that previous mat, we can kind of adjust from that. It gives us a visual. I think that looks pretty good. And you'll see here, so we moved the foundation, of course, most of you would know. The pole doesn't come with it. So by having the carpet or the mats there, we can break our steps so we can get the foundation set back in. And we'll have those mats for a reference point. And it makes it much easier to place the pole outside of the build this way. Okay, it's time to get the foundation snapped in, and we want to incorporate the pole to the build. And you'll notice even without that bottom step broke, it let me snap it in. So I was lazy. I didn't try to break it again. Using that reference mat, we're able to set the pole pretty much where we want it. I'll just repair the stairs here. We'll want to take a final look. I'll go over and carefully delete the mats. Well, I don't always carefully delete the mats because I've deleted many foundations, but here I will. And it looks pretty good. I may do a little bit more work, but for this purpose they work pretty well. You can see it's smooth to walk up them, so I hope this helped.